Hi everyone, it's Helen here. I'm just going to take you through our final flip collaborate, and that is for assignment 3 folio. It's gone very fast, so this is going to just take you through some of the requirements for this final assignment. So we're going to go through the overview of the assignment, the rubric expectations, the learning plans, some referencing information, and then we'll just go touch on some other information. And then if you can all join us at the live collaborate session, that would be fantastic, because we're going to go through some of the learning plans in more detail. Now do remember the due date for this. It does creep up very quickly, so it is week 12, so just make sure that you are prepared for that. So if you have a look at our overview here, it's going to help you and enhance your understanding of the key concepts in regards to language and literacy development in an Australian education context. And we're particularly looking at visual literacy, the role of ICT in language and literacy development. It's going to help, of course, with our communication skills, but it's also going to enable you to identify the implications of culture and home languages for learning and teaching. So let's have a look at our rubric requirements. So as with our other two assignments in this unit, we're using a holistic rubric. So that means we're looking for you to fulfill the requirements in each of the grades before you can move to the next level. So if we have a quick look at our past descriptor here, and I have highlighted some key areas there which went very quickly. So let's have a look at our credit descriptor. So remember, we are looking for a strength-based approach. We're looking for learning plans that enhance learning. They're meaningful, they're not just tokenistic, and we're looking for those readings from additional literature sources, and they've been cited, referenced, and we're using our APA. And just be aware of our word count here. It's plus or minus 10%. You're really needing to be starting to adhere to that, because as you move through to our next unit in literacy, there is a penalty if you do go over or come under the word count. So just to be aware of that. And if we go over to our distinction descriptor here, you can see that more is required as we move through. So you're looking for those the proofreading to come in. It's professionally presented. There's lots more work that has gone into it. So that's our distinction descriptor, and here's our high distinction descriptor. So we're really looking in particular at the way that you are presenting your folio. Is it creative? Is it original? It's professionally presented. You've used critical reading, and you've got a high engagement with literature. So that's really important, and of course our APA conventions. So then we go to our learning plans. Now for this assignment, you need to be developing 3 learning activity plans to demonstrate your understanding of visual literacy, the usage of ICT, and the implications of culture and home language for literacy learning and teaching in early childhood education. So this is from birth to 8-year-olds in both early childhood and primary settings. So just be aware of that age group. It's just jumped up slightly. So if you are using an older age group, then you'll need to be using the Australian curriculum to link your learning activity plans to that one. And your targeted readers for the folio are teachers at early childhood centres. So that's really important to note as well. So just imagine you're sharing your ideas with your teaching peers. And of course, we are including APA style in-text citations and a corresponding reference list. It's just one reference list for the 3 learning plans. There is no oral presentation, so just please take note of that with this one, no oral presentation. So there's lots of information on this page, and I know you can probably look through it, but what we're asking there is, I'm just going to move my screen a little bit here, is, it's not going to let you go back here, is to make sure you're including your body, your introduction, your main body, and your conclusion. But I'll let you have a look at that slide because it's jumped forward in your own time. So we're going to have a look oh no, it's jumped back, so I can go back to that slide. There it is. So in your, like I was saying, your learning plan, in each one you need to have the introduction, the body and conclusion. So in your introduction, it's like our first assignment that we did with our learning plan. That was a really good start to this assignment. It really builds on this one really builds on our first assignment. So this is where you're going to introduce your activity, you're going to gather the students together, you're going to do something that's going to start engaging the students. So you might use a story, a photo, sing a song, something like that, just to start off your lesson. Then your body is going to be going through what you're doing in your lesson plan. So this is what we did in our first assignment as well. So this is where we're looking for your key concepts in the body of your lesson for each one of them. And make sure that the resources that you select need to support the child's oral language development in the Australian context. So just be aware of that. That's really important. And a conclusion to sum up the key points that have happened in your lesson. Remember, it's not where you're going to just send them off to recess or get them to pack away. We really need to be recapping the things that happen in your conclusion. And as with the first assignment, you can use bullet points and images. So that's important to note as well. So let's have a quick look at our first learning plan. So this is going to be our learning plan that targets either infants or toddlers or preschoolers. So just please take note of those age groups. You don't want to be getting mixed up. So ensure that you have got the correct age group for your learning plan. And this learning plan is a lovely learning plan because you get to have a look at visual literacy. So there's a little definition there. And a little example will be analysing and interpreting a picture book. So there's going to be lots of information on our discussion board, and your modules will help you with this as well. So you'll be asking questions of the students. What do you think Fidgety Fish is telling his mum? Why is Fidgety Fish happy? How does his mum feel? So as the educator, those are the sort of things that you would be asking in the body of your lesson. So remember that your first lesson plan is visual literacy, and it's looking at how you're going to interpret visual symbols in media and other print. So just make sure you've done your reading and you have activities that are appropriate to your chosen age group. So in your learning plan 2, you're going to be looking at ICT, and in ICT you can look at preschoolers there, or you can look at junior primary school age, so 5 to 8 years old. Remember that if you are doing that, you'll need to be linking the Australian curriculum in to that age group. If you're doing preschoolers, of course, it's going to be the EYLF. So this is our ICT plan, and there's a little definition there of ICT that you can read through at your own leisure. And here's a little example about ICT. So you might use a particular app like Puppet Pals, where children are using their oral language to make a little recording. They listen to themselves back, and they work through a particular lesson using that app. And there's lots of apps out there for ICT, so you could have a look to see what you can find. Remember, it is the lessons are looking at oral language development, okay? So that's something that you really need to be keeping in mind. So the final lesson plan, which somehow, the title's gone on this one, is going to be for teaching and learning language and literacy in the context of English as an additional language. So please note that your task is to support children to learn EAL while valuing, respecting and acknowledging the influence of children's home culture and language, okay? You may specify an age group for this resource, so you need to still choose from either preschoolers or junior primary school children. So just remember to make sure that you are choosing the correct age group there. And there's a little bit of a definition about EAL learners, and this is really important because in the past we have seen some of the students fall down in this area. So we're not looking for tokenistic lessons, we're looking for lessons that really engage these students from diverse backgrounds. So here's a lovely example here. So you might be reading a variety of books that expose children to different cultures. You're going to assist students to gain an awareness of different home languages and cultures. So you might use a book called Whoever You Are, or one down the bottom, How Kangaroos Got Their Tails. And you might use those books as a discussion for Indigenous culture or different cultures that children may come across as they go through their schooling lives. Now remember, it isn't just targeting the EAL learners in your group, it's an overview, so you'll need to be looking at those, how all of your students can benefit from your lesson plan. So again, I touched on this with your curriculum connections. Make sure that you are using the EYLF if you are targeting children at birth to 5 years. So there are your learning outcomes there. Now you can choose the same age group for each lesson plan. That is perfectly fine, or you might like to have a go at doing an older age group. It's up to you, but as long as they are in the constructs of the ones that are mentioned there, that would be great. And of course, if you're using, if you're targeting students from foundation to year 2, so these are typically our students from 5 to 8 years. Then you would be learning using your Australian curriculum. So that means that you would be looking at your content, your areas such as language, literacy, and literature. And down the bottom there, there's your link to the Australian curriculum. So just make sure that you are getting your correct content descriptors and linking them to your lesson plan. Referencing. So make sure your folio is referenced using APA referencing style. Make sure that you've checked over your format and your structure. You've got a reference list. Remember, I said it's just one reference list for each. So for 3 lesson plans, you'll have one. You'll have one reference list. And remember that you can do a bit of reading around, have a go at looking at the Swinburne Library to make sure that you are targeting and making use of all the references that you can. So are there any other information? So you're going to be submitting the assessment via Canvas, which you've done for your previous 2. You're going to prepare your folio as one Microsoft Word document. So that's really important. So if you use your templates that have been provided, you'll ensure that you're doing that. You can use your bullet points, your headings, you can use images. If you do that, I would recommend that you convert your assignment to PDF, because then the images don't move. So just be aware, if you could do that, that would be great. And just make sure that you've proofread everything and that you are really happy with what you have submitted. Now, extensions need to be avoided for this assignment. Really, we need to get this through because results need to be put through fairly quickly, final results. So you need to be really organised for this one. So if you do require a long extension for this one, then your results will probably be delayed. So just be aware of that. So be organised so that you can ensure that you got this one in the bag and you're all ready to finish off the unit. So make sure you come to our live collaborate sessions. They're going to be really informative because we're going to go through our exemplars in detail. So we're really going to pull out some really key concepts. So ensure that you do that. And any questions you may have, you can start asking on your discussion board, and also you can ask them at the live collaborate. So good luck. It's been great having you in the unit, and I'm sure that you guys are going to do fantastically well, and we will see you at the live collaborates. Bye for now.